Hey, I'm Billy D, and I'm going to review a toy. So today I have the Barry Allen from the Speed Metal Wave of the McFarlane Toys DC Universe. Yesterday I did the Kid Flash, so today I'm going to do Barry. You probably see the theme. I'm going to keep going till all four are done, and then we're going to build the Darkest Night figure that you see on the bottom. So let's take a look at the package, and then we'll get him open. So 22 points of articulation on this figure. You can see Barry is in a pretty cool looking pose in there. On the bottom, you have the picture of the Darkest Night figure. That's the Build-A-Figure that we're going to build once all four are open. Barry Allen's Speed Metal on the side. And then on the back, it has the same picture as Kid Flash did, but it's a really, really nice looking picture of the Darkest Night Build-A-Figure. It shows you that this is actually number 4, and we're going to get the legs with it. On the bottom, it shows you the other figures in this wave. So there's Wally West, Jay Garrick, Kid Flash, and Barry Allen. Obviously, this is the Barry figure. Says it on the side. And that's pretty much it for the packaging. So let's get him open and check him out. Okay, so here is Speed Metal Barry Allen out of the box. And my first impression of this figure is that I'm not really feeling it. I don't know why. There's a few reasons, but I just don't like it. You can feel free to argue with me in the comments about it, but as for me, I'm not a huge fan. Let's take a look at him and see why. So, okay, number one, that's a reason why. For whatever reason, like, he does not want to stay on his base. Like, the hole in his foot is too small, and it just keeps coming off, like that. So that's kind of annoying. I mean, I've seen it with McFarlane Toys before, but not recently. The newer figures have been a lot better about that, but it is an issue with at least my copy of this figure. So the paint, you can see he's like 90% black paint. It looks good. He has some detail up around his shoulders, and that extends around to his back right there. So that's some nice detailing work. His face sculpt, I don't know if it's just me, but I just see Captain America when I see this. And I think it's because he has like the darker suit with the chin strap, and maybe that's why I think that, but I don't know. That's what I see when I see that face sculpt. Down his arms, he has these red lightning bolts, and they come pretty much all the way to his wrists. And he's trying to fall off again. Those look good enough. For whatever reason, he has some brass knuckles on, or some kind of punching device. Let's see if I can get him to stand. I do like the Flash symbol. I think it pops out good against that black being red and white. So that looks good. He's got some armbands around his forearms and then around his wrists. A little bit of red pinstriping going on there and around the boots. Now, with Kid Flash, he had like a lot of these metal looking accents on him, and really this is the only one that Barry has is on his shins, and it doesn't even pop the way the Kid Flash ones did. So I don't think it's as good a looking figure as Kid Flash in a lot of respects. On the bottom of his boot, he does have that red trim, so I do still think that's a nice touch. But other than that, that's really all there is to him. There's not a ton of detail in his costume. You can see there are a few lines, and that's not really like all McFarlane's fault. I mean, this is based on a comic book, so they have to work with what they have to work with, and I can't blame them for how the suit looks, but I mean, just overall, I don't like the design of it, and that's just me. So that's pretty much it for the paint and how he looks. So now let's take a look at his articulation. Starting with the head, it does come all the way down. It comes up a good bit. Left and right are really tight. You can probably hear it. Arms come all the way up. The elbows are on double joints, so they can come all the way in. The wrists will go around 360. Up on his torso, you have a nice amount of bend there, up and down, left and right. At his waist, he can bend a little bit to each side at the waist. You might be able to bend him even further at the waist, but I don't want to force it. This figure is like really, really tight. His thighs will come almost all the way out. Maybe not. He can't do a full split because I think this part right here is preventing that. Not a real big deal for me. The knees are on double joints, so they'll come all the way back. And then his feet, once again, you're going to get the left and right and forward and backwards tilt a little bit, enough to pose him how you want to. And then, of course, you got the toe joint. So the articulation is really good. That's to be expected. It's pretty much basic with mostly all of the McFarlane, at least the regular line of figures. Other than that, that's really about it for the figure. You either like it or you don't, and you already know how I feel about it. So let's take a look at his accessories. Okay, so accessory-wise, what you see here is what you get. The Kid Flash had 5 speed effects with him. Barry only has 4, and that's because he doesn't have that speed effect that goes around his shoulders. Not really a big deal as far as I'm concerned. I actually think this figure looks a lot better once the speed effects are on him. Now, just like Kid Flash, you can kind of put these, you can kind of clip them on wherever you want. I'm not sure that McFarlane has like a certain place where these are supposed to go. There's just kind of like little like clippy parts of them, and you can just kind of stick them where you want. And I like that, so you can kind of do whatever you want with the figure. But I definitely think he looks a lot better with these on him. They're a darker plastic than the Kid Flash is. They're like a darker red color, but still like slightly translucent. I actually like those speed effects a lot. And just like with every other McFarlane figure, you're going to get the action figure base and the trading card. So the only other thing that comes in the box with this Barry Allen is the legs to the Darkest Night. And just like the torso, like they look very, very similar to like Venom, with like the swooshing around things going off it and the slimy look to it. But overall, it's going to be a really, really tall figure. You can see his legs are almost as tall as Barry right there. And these are just like a slightly translucent purple. There's no black. I actually have the torso sitting right here. This was in the Kid Flash figure, and this is kind of like faded into a black paint in the middle, where these are just purple. So I'm not going to attach them now. We will wait till the end when we have all the pieces. But that's it for this figure. Here's a side-by-side comparison with the original Barry Allen Flash that McFarlane made with his yellow speed effects. And funny enough, when I look at this one, I don't see Captain America, but when I look at this one, I do see it. But that is the side-by-side. I definitely prefer the red version. And here's the side-by-side with the Speed Metal Kid Flash figure. I actually do think they look pretty darn good side-by-side. So maybe I'll come around on the Barry as like a display piece when I have all 4 of them together. And I guess I was wrong. I guess these speed effects are pretty much the same exact color. I remembered these from yesterday being a little bit lighter and these being darker, but right here they look exactly the same. If I have to give this a grade, I'm going to go with a C. There's not much wrong with it, but there's also not much right with it. It's still a really niche figure. We have other Flash figures. We have 2 other comic book style Barry Allens, a couple movie Barry Allens, a couple animated Barry Allens. So this wasn't necessary, but of course they had to make it to keep up with the, the speed metal wave. But if I just wanted a Barry Allen Flash figure, this is not the one I would buy. But it's fine for what it is, and you do get the Flash effects with it. So my final answer is I'm giving Speed Metal Barry Allen a C, and that is it for today. I hope everyone out there has a great day.